Good morning, Dana. How are you?
Good morning, Wendy. Good. It's a little windy out here, so
I can hear it a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. I hope I've got everything in and bundled and headphones on, so you wouldn't get a lot of the wind. Won't hear the birds today, though.
Oh, I just did. As soon as you said
Oh,
that, they
oh,
started.
really? There's so many. We have about, I would say, 2 dozen or more purple finches,
Oh,
and a few of what we call chickadees, with the stripes on their heads. A couple of them have flown into the windows, so we have to figure out what to put on the windows because they race around here between all the bird feeders. So it's just been so beautiful.
yeah.
It's too early for hummingbirds. That's for
Yes.
sure. It's too cold for hummingbirds. I
Usually,
don't.
actually, is it? Oh, that's, yeah. Usually Mother's Day they come out. I know at my house here, when I bought my house here in Chelmsford, the lady that owned it before, she was very much into her gardening and had tons of hummingbird feeders. She would always say Mother's Day weekend, that's when the hummingbirds would come.
Well,
This weekend.
it's pretty cold. I don't know
Yes.
whether they come out if it's cold. And if I put the bird feeders out, is the solution thick enough not to freeze?
Yeah.
Because we're still at -1 this morning.
I
So the
know.
ice, my water from the lake that we bring up to wash dishes, because we haven't put the lines in yet, has all ice in it. So it's like I can't put the hummingbird feeders out. James is always, this is like, will someone respond to this? Will someone answer this question for us? Do hummingbirds fly on the back of geese? And do they arrive when the geese come? This is a fireside topic.
At what point of the fireside topic is this? Like about half a
Late
case
into
of
the
beer in?
yeah, late into the evening. I'm just like, I don't know, James. Let me ask everybody.
These are
I
deep,
don't know.
deep thoughts.
These are deep thoughts.
You should write them down and make a book. Deep
I should
fireside
just
thoughts.
video. I should just videotape him. Fireside Thoughts by James. Because it'd be all day funny. And my kids are like, oh yeah, Mom, you should certainly do that. And
Oh, that would be amazing.
Jane is really good about she's super good about sneaking videos in, but never about James. He's like the perfect dad for TikTok, but he doesn't do it. He's the perfect dad for Snapchat, and he doesn't do it. But that's okay.
Oh,
The foolish things we do as parents, so much fun.
oh, all in the name of love of our children.
Or all in the name of a campfire. Yeah, which we can't have.
Yeah,
That just
no.
stinks. So
Yeah.
maybe
Still.
maybe this week I'll well, we've got our little campfire gas one that we have on our pontoon boat,
Yeah.
but it's been too cold, so we've just been stuck inside. We have a little patio one here that's on the top of our patio table, but again, it's too cold. But I think Canadian Tire still has a few of the
With all those
ring, yeah, the ring
Yeah.
propane ones. So we might I might just go find one and get that done, because if we do a fire ban again this summer, which is more than likely,
Yeah.
that fire at the end of night is fantastic. So I think I'll look for that when I head into town tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a
So
good idea. I
mhm.
mean, especially the way you talk, anyways, is the fact that it's kind of your husband's sanity, if nothing
It
else. So
it honestly is his sanity. Like, he gets squirrely. He's not a guy to sit inside. I'm sure many men are like that.
oh,
Anyways, they can't sit inside. They have to be busy. That's just the way that they're they were brought up, that you can't be idle. And there's always so many things to do, whether you're at home or at your cottage or camp. And yeah. Anyways. It's a
yeah,
trying time. So let's talk a little bit about COVID. So they opened up the garden centers,
yes, just in time for
and
Mother's Day.
yes, and the hardware stores, right? It's
Canadian
all
Tire's open now.
curbside. Yeah. So I mean, is it open to walk in, or is it
Yep,
open for curbside? You can
yep,
walk in.
yep. You
Oh,
can walk in
beautiful.
now. And I find that so much better. Well, because I'm kind of a spontaneous buyer, I needed
Mm-hmm.
I needed paper, not paper clips, clothesline pins, and I need a battery for this, and I need all these little things. But how do you do that by phone and say,
Well,
I still
even
have to remind you. Like a list.
James needed water parts, right, for plumbing. And so he called Canadian Tire thinking that he could put an order in, he could drive over and pick it up. No, it was a 2 to 3 day wait.
No
And he's
way.
like, and that was last week. So we're like, how is that profitable, or how does that even work when this happens like this?
Yeah.
Like, how can you not but be frustrated?
Yeah.
Now Princess Auto was amazing. We just called up there, we paid for it online, or paid for it over the phone, and we literally, I drove from the south end to Princess Auto and picked it up.
Nice.
So it's wonderful to have these additions.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I hope everyone practices safe COVID measures. Like, even though I know it doesn't, the masks are funny because it doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. All it's doing is stopping you from touching your face.
Yeah.
And so then you can get into big topics about that, the overuse, or the rubber gloves, and you then, take them off before it's so many different thoughts, and everyone's trying to listen and trying to be obedient.
Yeah, from my medical background, I mean, the whole mask and glove thing kind of makes me giggle a little bit, because I mean, when we use gloves in the nursing home or in a medical setting or wherever you're using gloves, technically for whatever purpose, you touch one thing, you take them off, you go to the next thing. You touch one thing, you take them off, you go to the next thing. You cannot use your gloves from your steering wheel to the cart buggy to the food, every piece of food that you touch, to your wallet, to your car. It doesn't make sense. You're actually causing worse problems than even if you were just to wash your hands with sanitizer between. And the mask alone, and I think our little PM there did the best talk when he said something about that moistly.
That is going to be the best meme.
Yeah, it has been. I've seen a few of them.
Yeah. But can you imagine being the PM and then reading, because he's just teleprompting, right? He's just teleprompting. He pays big bucks to big people that write this stuff out, and then to come across that typo, and he was just like, oh. Yeah.
He's just like, his face, as soon as he was saying it, he was like, oh my God.
It's so funny. And oh my gosh. And then they memed another one with him flipping his hair back. Oh my gosh. Poor guy.
But I mean, with the mask alone, I mean, it really just does nothing more than stops you from touching your face.
Stops you from touching. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the overuse of sanitizers and doing overuse of things. As soon as I walk in the store, or whether it's psychological, my nose is itchy, or I have a itchy face, and I'm just like, oh. So then you're like trying to scratch your face like this. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so it's very interesting. And even for the seniors or people who actually have been in self-isolation because they're concerned that their immune system or their body is not healthy enough, what do they do? Like, we have to start existing as a world. We have to function as a world. We have to exist. It's a different, it'll be interesting how he rolls it out. And then how will that spike things? And it's really tough to say because it can be, at some point I have to leave my home. Or do you? You kind of have to, you need that socialization, like you'll go squirrely, like talking to your volleyball, like Tom Cruise, not Tom Cruise, what's his name? Tom Hanks. Yeah. And so there's that level of sanity that you kind of have to just say, screw it. I need to get out. I need to see my people. I need to exist. And is that based out of fear? Or is that just being super cautious? Or because this won't go away?
No, it won't go away. I think there is a lot of fear, but at the same time, people are you've either got really extreme fear or you've got a really extreme complacency. Because I went out on yesterday, I went to bring my mother some flowers that I had picked up and everything else. We chatted in the driveway, but as I was driving around the city, there was either really large groups of people I saw. I mean, I saw groups of 10, 15 people gathered outside thinking that they're okay because they're outside. Or then you saw like nothing. It was like blank.
Well,
So,
at some point, the 2-meter distance has to be in place. You have to exist and still keep the 2-meter distance.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're outside, you can't share drinks, you can't share things, you can't shake hands. But why can't we meet and be 2 meters apart and spend time together?
Yeah.
And even if it is outside, right? It's better than being, closed in. But that's just going to be the way things are going to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then James was reading yesterday morning, the amount of fines that have gone out in Canada is 5.3 million.
Paying for all this extra money that's coming to us.
I guess, like, it's crazy. And it's like 4,500 people have been fined across Canada. The majority of them have been in Quebec, that those rebels not abiding by the rules. But and then a lot of homeless people who are gathering in groups. Well,
they're just trying to stay warm.
Yeah, they're just trying to stay warm. But that won't go down well. Like, that will not recover well. Like, the public media will have a heyday with that one. But it's interesting. Like, I can understand if there's, if everyone's playing a soccer game, or
that's
it's hard to say.
Happen, my concern was the fact that even before anything else, they opened up daycares, and
you have to exist.
I understand that, but there was this one daycare in Toronto that 11 staff members were tested positive, and 4 children. So right away, that was a big thing. As a parent, if I was home with I am a parent, but my kids are big and gone. But if I had little ones right now, I'd still be very concerned.
Right, and then it comes to that point of money.
Yeah.
Or health.
Well, that's it too. Yeah.
Is it what's the concern? Money or health? And then it's job loss because you're supposed to go back. You're essential worker, or both are essential workers, and then you have to. So it's interesting, but I know it depends. Like, how are they've tested positive? Are they ill? Are they on ventilators?
That's the other thing, yeah.
Like, that's just the test.
Yeah.
And it's a test because no one knows. Like, do children respond better? Do these daycare workers just get it and they recover?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the test. Like, and then do they get it again?
Well, that's the thing. Hopefully, if they got it the first time, they would have built up the antibodies for it. So
right.
They would be able to recover better if they got it the next time too. But I don't know.
It's a tough situation. Like, it truly is. Like, do we just, you have to go to work. You have to at some point get back to work. Everybody does, at some way, shape, or form. Things will change.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses will close down, or they'll get funding, and the whole evolution of business is going to just carry on. But it's interesting. Like, I accidentally shared that Ireland one, and they're not rolling out most things until August,
even October.
Yeah. So that's a huge hit. And so it's very interesting to see how we're going to lay out, and then if we're all going to follow the rules.
Yeah, and then what happens in the fall? Because, I mean, we could slowly drip things open as things go through the summer, but then they say fall time. If we haven't got a vaccine in place by the fall time, we're going to get hit with the second round of this, because that's just the season, So,
and then comes the whole issue of vaccines.
Well, and that's a whole nother thing altogether. And I think that's why. I think this is why stuff that we do is so very important right now as nutritionists, as healthcare providers, on the home front kind of situation as opposed to the front lines. We're kind of in the back end of things. I really just trying to educate people on how to stay healthy from an everyday perspective, you know, and not lose and maintain the health that we have at this point, which is, you know, what we do. And I think all nutritionists are doing, you know, really with a great passion right now. I don't think it's going on deaf ears by any means, but it's, you know, it's something that's very, very important, and hopefully it's getting across to people. Like me, when I go out, I was in the grocery store. I don't wear a mask. I don't wear gloves. I wash my hands. You know, I stay like 6 feet apart from people as much as possible. I try to follow the lines down the grocery store aisle, but at the same time, I see there's a lot of fear out there. I feel it. I can see young people walking around with these masks on that are not fitting their faces, walking around with gloves on, these blue surgical gloves. And
although it's hard to say, they could actually have a compromised immune systems.
They could. I mean, I'm not trying to.
If I had an autoimmune disorder, like if I had a severe autoimmune disorder, perhaps I'd be a totally different mindset.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say, right? And we have to honor where they're at. But let's hope it's that, and they're not running fearmonger, right?
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's certainly an interesting time, and that's, you know, absolutely. I was thinking about that all day yesterday. Was what am I actually doing to, or how am I doing? Let me say that better. How am I doing with bettering my health condition? How am I doing at monitoring or bettering? Bettering is not a word, but my antioxidants. How is my macular degeneration coming along with these additional stress and this, you know, this being, I want to say lazier, but I certainly haven't done the things that I've wanted to do this week because it's been freaking snowing. I can't go for a hike in the bush because who the hell thought to bring their freaking winter boots? So can't go far in Crocs. No, I didn't. I do have running shoes, but I didn't bring enough plastic bags. Like when we were kids, we put their feet in milk bags. Yeah. But really, like, and I remember the words when you said to me, and that was such a huge impact. If I had an autoimmune, or if I had cancer right now, what would I do? And that's that sort of mindset we need to get ourselves at, in recognizing and being part of the prayer team at church. The amount of people who have cancer at young ages, or who are dying of cancer at young ages, is phenomenal. So, you know, yes, cancer is pretty tricky, disease is pretty tricky, but there has to be a point of kicking it into prevention and like paying attention to the signs and symptoms of your body. And what is your body trying to tell you? And using, I don't want to say you can't rely upon alternative medicine, but you certainly can lean into it to understand the health of your body better, like live blood, or like thermography, or looking at nutrition, right? And nutrition. It's not going to be the be all and end all, but it certainly gives you a better footing to withstand, you know, like withstand these things. And you know, learning about what Chris Warwick has to say, or learning about what the truth of cancer, you don't have to do exactly, because that may not be what your body needs, but it's certainly going to open up your eyes to how important it is to recognize stress, recognize inflammation, recognize the deficiencies in the body, to at least you still live in fear, but not live in fear. And I don't mean to say it in that terms, but it's that we really need to, and this is me talking to Dana. This is Dana needs to say it out loud so Dana can hear it. But we need to pay more attention to what our body's signs and symptoms so that we can prevent things, not here, like prevent now, but prevent in 10 years or prevent in 15 or 20. Like we want to be 70 and still be healthy. And I need to get that into my head just as much as I want to get it into my clients' heads or talk to people about it and the importance of it.
Yep. Totally
It's
agree. I mean, I
like,
come from the same perspective. And I mean, even from where I'm looking at with the functional nutrition and more of the medical end of things, I mean, how many clients have you talked to and you said, drink more water? And they say,
mhm,
yeah, I know.
mhm,
Or you eat more greens. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Or walk. Yeah, I know. I mean, these are things that we know inherently that we do, but why don't we do them? And that's the big
I don't know.
question and the big we struggle with as practitioners to really help our clients get past that, as well as for ourselves as well. Because I mean, you said you were talking to yourself when you were saying those things, but I mean, I talk to myself too. I know I have to drink more water. Do I always? No. I know I should get more sleep. Do I always? No. Or I should get out and exercise more. Do I always? No. We always do this. And this is the whole thing of understanding and trying to figure out and get past that a little bit and get past either what is holding us back.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, like you said, comes down to fear.
Yep. And limiting beliefs.
Yeah, limiting
Like
beliefs.
I know, do I actually know enough? That's my thing. Do I actually know enough? Will anyone really believe me? Am I worthy enough to do these things? Am I smart enough? Those are all of my limiting beliefs. So it's these are big struggles, and it's not just, it can be our career, it can be our relationships, it can be our friendships, it can be our health. There's so many things that we have to recognize and step up and change. Right? We have to step up, step out.
Yeah, that was my big thing in the last little while. Hashtag step up, step out. Because I mean, really, no, seriously, because it for a lot of, and I get a little frustrated with myself, not only just my clients or the work that I do, but I think that really it comes down to choice, and it comes down to, because everybody knows this, that, and everything else that I offer as a practitioner, to say to people, drink more, have your greens, take your supplements, do this, do that, do everything else. Everybody says, I know, but why aren't you doing it? So make that choice to either step up and actually implement some of the things that you know you already have to do, or step out, because basically that's what you're doing. If we're not implementing these things,
then you just live life and you carry on, and then
you
suffer the consequences of those actions.
Yeah, of the choices that you've made. Yeah.
Right. Period. Well, that's a lot of people think that way too. Like, well, we're all going to die. We're all going to die.
Yeah, we are.
And so be it, right? So live life to the fullest, and that's okay if you go out well. But if you don't go out well, then you're costing your family and you're costing the system a tremendous burden for things that are preventable.
Yeah. But I mean, even you say you want to live your life to the fullest to the end, but taking in more water, exercising, eating healthy, who's to say that's not the better way? And that's where the mindset and different things come in too, because people think that eating healthy and eating greens and exercising and getting more sleep is bad for them, or they think that somehow that's the worst scenario possible, that I have to do all this stuff just to be happy or just to live a life that's long and healthy, which is, that comes down to that personal mindset where for some reason we've been told that eating steak and potatoes 3 times a day is going to be the best way to live, and nobody's going to tell me differently, because this is what I
paleo
want.
Yeah, if you're paleo, sure.
Well, if you're paleo.
But I mean, this is so reflective of where I'm at in my mindset. Is that, honoring and respecting what my purpose and what my mission is in walking in God's steps, and talking more about it and being more open about it, which is strange. I don't know why we don't talk about it in that aspect, and why it's just not part of our conversations. But That's exactly. I'm not honoring where God wants me and where my purpose is, and I don't know why. Like, why don't I? Am I going to be made fun of? Maybe that's okay. Or these are the steps of not honoring things where you're supposed to be. And you're saying the exact same things. It's that drinking water and exercising and breathing and eating greens and eating food. Why isn't that the better way? So if I'm walking in my purpose and mission and honoring and in prayer and, doing the things that are passionate to my heart, then I'm not walking in my, if I'm not doing that, then I'm not walking in my fullness. And that just makes me like, what am I doing? So, yeah.
Yeah. And I talk about this a lot with my own clients and in my Facebook group and different things. It's that balance. And I think, a person that sits there and eats greens all day long and exercises but doesn't have that right mindset and feels really crappy and feels like they're being deprived of life because they can't sit around and watch TV and eat steak and potatoes all day long. That's not healthy as far as I'm concerned. Whereas, if somebody has the deep faith mindset, understands their purpose, walks in it on a daily basis, but then doesn't eat properly and, or doesn't move their body joyfully or anything like that, that's not healthy either. Like I know there's like 3 or 4 entities that really have to balance and they'll shift a little bit back and forth, but if they're like this, then that's not healthy. You're going to have them kind of all fluctuating around the same level. Like we're not always going to eat healthy, we're not always going to have enough sleep, we're not always going to be drinking, we're not always going to be in the right mindset, we're not always going to be moving our body. But as long as we're kind of keep them fluctuating all in the same kind of sphere, I think this is where our basic balance of health, our health balance comes in to play, as opposed to just like extreme mindset of, no, I'm never going to, or 6 days a week, 3 hours a day of working out. That's,
you're going to be one of those people that criticize and judge and
exactly.
You can't be that way.
No, because that's not healthy. And I think it's the mindset, the body and the soul that all have to be kind of all
in alignment
around the sun. Yeah. And that's important. Because nobody's perfect. That's the other thing too. I know people know that they have to drink water. I know people know that they have to take their supplements and get their greens in and the sleep and all these different things. But I know that too, and I'm not perfect. I know that person knows it and they're not perfect. It's about kind of that reminder and trying to always do better. I think it's always just those baby steps of trying to do better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, that was an amazing. Well, we could still talk for hours, but we should probably sign off.
Yes.
And we'll see you again this afternoon when we have we talk about the garden towers and whole food goodness and that kind of stuff. And I know that I think this week will be certainly a week of talking about mindset and talking about our passions and our purposes and where we're supposed to be. And this is still going to go on for a few more weeks. And we need to get I need to get my butt in gear, but
we all know it. It's just those choices. I was listening to Tony Robbins this morning. I like to listen to those motivational things first thing in the morning, and that's what Tony said. It's about choices.
Yep. Make the choices, people. Make good choices.
Yeah.
Make good choices.
Good choices that are going to come back to you tenfold. That's all.
Right. Exactly.
All right,
well,
Dana.
You have an amazing day today. We'll see you later on, and then we'll see everybody else for coffee tomorrow morning.
All right. Have a good day, sweetie. Bye.
Be blessed. Bye.